A warm welcome to you all. I am Dr. Mridul Borthakur of Department of Zoology, Borooah College, Guwahati. In this presentation, I will discuss about biogeochemical cycle. This is the part of CBCS syllabus of environmental studies. This presentation is prepared under the initiative of Zoological Society of Assam. Learning outcome. In this lecture, I will discuss about definition of biogeochemical cycle, types of biogeochemical cycles, basic idea about carbon and nitrogen cycle, and importance of biogeochemical cycles. Introduction. The term biogeochemical cycle was coined by Russian naturalist Vernadsky in 1926. Bio refers to living organism and geo to earth, which can be extended to air and water of the earth. And chemical includes the chemical elements like carbon, nitrogen, sulfur, etc., which continuously go around the cycle. So literally it means cycling of chemicals from earth to organism and back to earth. The cyclic pathway through which chemical elements move from the earth environment to living organism and back to the earth environment is called biogeochemical cycle. Such movement of elements and inorganic compounds are essential for life and are called nutrient cycle. Compartment or pools in biogeochemical cycle. Its biogeochemical cycle consists of two compartments or pools. Number one, reservoir pool or compartment. It is the large, slow-moving, generally non-biological component. Number two, exchange or cycling pool. It is smaller but more active component that is exchanging rapidly between organism and their immediate environment. Here, materials are easily accessible to live processes. Types of biogeochemical cycle. Biogeochemical cycle can be divided into two types, gaseous type and sedimentary type. Gaseous type. In this type of cycle, the reservoir is in the atmosphere or hydrosphere. Carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, and water cycles are examples of gaseous cycle. Sedimentary type. In this cycle, the nutrient reservoir is in the sedimentary rock or lithosphere. This cycle is slower than gaseous cycle. Sulfur, phosphorus, and iodine cycle are examples of sedimentary type of cycle. Elements undergoing biogeochemical cycle. Different elements undergoing biogeochemical cycles can broadly be divided into two categories, macronutrient and micronutrient. Macronutrient means such nutrients are present in the organic matter more than 0.2%. Some of the important macronutrients are carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, phosphorus, chlorine, sulfur, potassium, calcium, etc. Micronutrients. Such nutrients are present less than 0.2% in the organic matter. Some important micronutrients undergoing biogeochemical cycles are aluminum, boron, chromium, cobalt, iodine, manganese, molybdenum, selenium, zinc, etc., which are necessary for survival of life. In this presentation, I will briefly discuss about carbon cycle. Carbon is present in the atmosphere in the form of carbon dioxide. Beside atmospheric carbon dioxide, carbon is also present in dissolved form in the water of the earth. From the atmosphere, carbon moves in the form of carbon dioxide to the producer organisms. The producer organism, green plants and some photosynthetic bacteria, convert atmospheric carbon dioxide in the form of carbohydrate by a process called photosynthesis in presence of light. From producer organism, carbon moves to the animals through food chain. When animal eats plant product, carbon moves from plants to the animals. During the process of respiration of plants and animals, carbon is released into the atmosphere in the form of carbon dioxide. After the death of plants and animals, decomposition occurs. Decomposition is an oxidative process. During decomposition, microbial organisms like bacteria, fungi, etc. releases carbon into the atmosphere in the form of carbon dioxide. Carbon may remain in the fossil fuel like coal, petroleum, etc. for millions of years. The combustion of fossil fuel like coal, petroleum, diesel, etc. releases carbon to the atmosphere in the form of carbon dioxide. So this is briefly about carbon. Nitrogen cycle. I will briefly discuss about nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen is present in the atmosphere in gaseous form. The atmospheric nitrogen is fixed by different processes called biological fixation and atmospheric and industrial fixation. The atmospheric nitrogen is fixed by some biological organism like bacteria and blue-green algae is called biological nitrogen fixation. Some symbiotic bacteria like rhizobium and some free-living bacteria like azotobacter, clostridium, etc. can fix atmospheric nitrogen. Besides this, some blue-green algae like nostoc, calothrix, anabina, etc. can fix atmospheric nitrogen in ammonia form. In the atmosphere, reaction occurs between nitrogen, hydrogen, and oxygen, for which a high amount of energy is necessary, which becomes available from cosmic radiation, lightning, etc. The resulting ammonia and nitrate are carried to the earth with rainwater as dilute, alkali, or acid. Some amount of nitrogen is also fixed by industrial process. The reaction occurs between nitrogen and hydrogen in different industry and forms ammonia, for which specific condition of temperature and atmospheric pressure is necessary. After the fixation of nitrogen in the form of ammonia and nitrate, it goes to the plant body. Plant take nitrogen from the soil and it takes part in the formation of different biomolecules of plant body. Student, as all of you know that nitrogen is one of the important components of protein, amino acid, nucleic acid, etc. So it takes part in the formation of different biomolecules in plants. From plants, nitrogen goes to the animals through food chain and take part in the formation of different biomolecules. After the death of plants and animals, what will happen? The decomposition of that body occurs. During the decomposition, the nitrogen from organic matter is converted to ammonia by a process called ammonification. So ammonification means the release of ammonia from organic matter of plants and animals is called ammonification, for which a specific group of bacteria is necessary, which are called as ammonifying bacteria. This ammonia is converted to nitrate by a process called nitrification by some bacteria, and the bacteria involved are called as nitrifying bacteria. The ammonia is first converted to nitrate, and then nitrate is converted to nitrate by a process called nitrification. Then this nitrate can directly again plant can take in the formation of different biomolecules. And also this nitrate is converted to atmospheric nitrogen by a process called denitrification, for which some specific bacteria are necessary. Such bacteria are called as denitrifying bacteria. During denitrification, this nitrate is converted to gaseous nitrogen and released in the atmosphere. So briefly, this is about nitrogen cycle. Importance of biogeochemical cycle. All elements needed for the structure and chemical process of life comes from different components of Earth, that is hydrosphere, lithosphere, and atmosphere. Elements like carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, sulfur, etc. are critical for the formation of protoplasm, which is the basis of life. As these elements are key components of life, they must be available for biological process. Plant absorbs such element from soil or atmosphere, and animal receives such element from plants through food chain. The biogeochemical cycle transport and store these important elements so that they can be used by living organism. If organism does not return different elements to the earth environment after receiving it, there will be a scarcity of element in the environment, and thus life cannot sustain. Thus, biogeochemical cycle helps to maintain a balance by circulating different elements between abiotic and biotic components. Human activities have been the cause of extensive environmental pollution, especially in the past few decades, resulting in the disturbance of the natural process like the biogeochemical cycle. Human activities are responsible to speed up the cyclic movement of many materials like carbon, nitrogen in the biogeochemical cycle. Human activities increase the flow rates or reduce the storage time of different elements or material like carbon, nitrogen, sulfur, etc. These elements can become pollutant. This causes various environmental problems. For instance, humans cause environmental problems by influencing the carbon cycle. The removal of forests has caused depletion in trees that absorb carbon dioxide. Humans are responsible for carbon dioxide emission into the atmosphere due to excessive use of fossil fuel in automobiles and in different industry. As a result of this effect, the carbon dioxide level in the atmosphere have greatly increased, causing various environmental problems like global warming. The use of fertilizer and pesticide in agricultural activities have altered the cycles of carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus, and sulfur on a global scale, affecting the functioning of different ecosystems. This is about my presentation. Student, if you have any query, you can directly contact me in my email ID, borthakur@redifmail.com. Thank you.